What is going on, everyone? BouseFeenux here, and welcome to another Warriors Den dev stream recap. Say that 5 times fast. So we're gonna jump right into that in just a second, but first I want to say thank you to everyone who showed up last night and watched my drunken attempt at gameplay during the live stream. I had an absolute blast chilling with you guys, and if you missed that, the VOD is now live for your viewing pleasure. Now, on to business. Today's dev stream was pretty much like the last one, extremely uneventful. No new developments on the important topics, but for posterity, let's go over what was talked about today in a little more detail. First up, no Roman this week, so balance changes weren't really discussed, but they did touch again on server and connectivity issues. They pretty much mentioned the connectivity update last week, which on my end, and from what I've been seeing around the community, didn't really solve a whole lot for anyone. Apparently, the devs recognize this as well because they spent a decent amount of time trying to show us how to use the website that teaches you how to get a green NAT type. This is great, but a lot of us have green NATs and we still get kicked in the beginning, middle, or end of a match. At this point, by their body language on the cast and the way they dodged around any kind of real answer, I'm not sure even they know how to solve the problem. Nonetheless, they've reassured us that they're still working on it. From what it seems like, the devs think this is a client-side issue, which is pretty much a nice way of saying we're the problem, and while in some instances that very well may be the case, this is too widespread an issue and too many people are having problems staying connected to matches for that to be 100% true. Anyway, after quote-unquote addressing the connectivity issues, Damien, the game director, went on to talk about upcoming new content, and funny enough, the article talking about the $700 worth of microtransactions was brought up. This was probably the best part of the cast, and you've got to watch it to believe me here, and know that what I'm about to say is not made up. They actually said this stuff. Okay, so first, Damien naturally doesn't see a problem with the high number of microtransactions in the game, of course, right? His rationale for this was staggeringly disconnected. He stated that you aren't meant to play every character and have every cosmetic in the game. Additionally, you aren't even supposed to have every cosmetic for the character you main. But wait, it gets better. He used the analogy of going into a supermarket with the intention of buying tissues. He said, and I quote, "You wouldn't buy every type of tissue on the shelf, you just get the one you'd want and leave." Wow, dude, come on, man. These characters aren't a fucking box of Kleenexes. They're like a series of action figures, right? You don't buy just one Gundam. If I get heavy arms, I want Sandrock, Epion, Tall Geese. I want all of them. It's a collection thing. Come on, man. It was also said that this game isn't designed to unlock everything. Do you know how many people in the gaming community make it their absolute mission to 100% video games? How disconnected from your consumers could you possibly be? In addition to that, though, he also said that they're noticing a bunch of players with large amounts of steel that they're holding on to. One of their main objectives is to get people to spend it. So if you're wondering why new emotes take precedence over server fixes and balance updates, there you go. I know that sounds super witch hunty, but you've got to see this shit to believe it. It's pretty fucking Looney Tunes. But hey, shareholders and company execs always come before the average Joe consumer, am I right? So by this logic, we can expect to see more shiny stuff before any of the real core problems are addressed. Thankfully though, and I mean, we kind of already knew this, but we did get some slightly new information about actual content. With the beginning of next season of the Faction War, we're looking to get new maps, heroes, and new gear for all characters, and this is confirmed. So this is really good map-wise because the game actually has less content in it now than when it was released. Currently, we're missing 2 maps, High Fort and River Fort. The devs have claimed that there are issues with these maps and are working to bring them back online. To do this, they need our help this Friday. If you want to lend a hand, they're asking you to play as many custom matches on these 2 maps as you can. Again, that's High Fort and River Fort. This helps them to collect data and pinpoint any issues. They said that they're trying to get these maps back in rotation soon, but with the way things have been working, it could be anywhere from a few more days to a few more weeks before we see that. But thank God, I played Citadel Gates 6 times in a row yesterday before I got a different map in Dominion. I didn't even have a different weather setting in my matches. It was just like I was stuck in some kind of time loop. As for some various and sundry other topics, they touched a bit on a competitive ranked mode and said that it is coming, but they want to fix the servers first. I think we can safely assume by that statement that it is going to be a little while before we get something like that. On top of all this, they also said that they're looking at adding a spectator mode, which for tournament play would be a lot more professional. I don't know if you guys have seen them yet, but in order to do a duels tournament, they have to set up a custom match with a spectator, quote unquote, who gets killed early in the match so they can watch the two duelists fight. It's super unprofessional looking, and you only get one side of the fight. I am really looking forward to this one in particular. The last things they covered in the cast were, of course, hero balance and matchmaking fairness. To no surprise, they're planning to look at Lawbringer soon, but they've been saying that for weeks, so I'm not really sure I'd expect anything out of that in the near future. Raider and, oddly enough, Berserker were on the list of characters to be tweaked next as well. Raider needed a look for sure, but I have no idea what they need to do to Berserker. I definitely don't feel like he needs a buff, but I haven't been playing him for that long, so I'm not really sure what they're thinking for this one. Nonetheless, it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with these characters. On the topic of matchmaking fairness, though, they admitted that gear is not working as intended. They said that it's far more powerful than it's meant to be, and revenge definitely needs to be looked at. Surprise, surprise. They didn't mention any time frames for this, of course, but at least they're acknowledging it. Following all of this, though, was about an hour and a half of Alex, the game tester, dueling various popular streamers and playing with community members, but that was about it. In closing, to add my final thoughts to all this, I want to say that despite my harsh attitude towards the devs in this video, I love For Honor. I haven't played a game this much in forever, but I'm afraid that if core issues don't start being addressed soon, the game's player base is going to get frustrated and just move on. The ambiguity and lack of clear communication from the devs and the community is wearing people down, and they're getting tired of waiting. Pretty soon, all but the most diehard of players might be taking their time and their money elsewhere, and that's sad. This game, fundamentally, is really great. It needs a lot of work, and if it gets that work, I think it'll be something that has a lot of staying power. Anyway, that is all for today's recap. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like down below and subscribe so that you never miss any new content. Until next time, though, I'm BouseFeenux. I'll see you at the next video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.